So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonna Williams. I am, sorry, one sec, the Assistant Procurement Officer for our Design and Construction Unit here at DPS. And today I will take you through high-level explanation of contracting with the City of Chicago through the Department of Procurement Services. So today, our goals at a glance are our department overview, the laws governing the procurement process, procurement terms, the different types of procurement, certification, contract monitoring and compliance, our programs and our bid incentives, and our DPS website, which Jackie has already touched upon. And once we go through the slides, we'll answer any questions you may have. So the laws governing the procurement process. The Municipal Purchasing Act, for the most part, governs everything that we do as far as contracting here at the City of Chicago. We also have the state statute that governs the state processes, which trickle down to the city's procurement practices. And here, Chapter 2-92 is the section that particularly speaks to procurement in the municipal code. A few key procurement terms. The first is bid package. When we refer to a bid package, we're talking about a set of documents issued by the city to solicit bids for goods and or services. Now, all of our bid opportunities and our bid packages are online, and you can access them through the city's e-procurement system. So we don't do any paper bidding. We do all of our bidding electronically now. The next term is addendum. So once we issue a bid package, if there's a change to any of the documents in the bid, we call that an addendum. So whether it's a competitive bid, a request for qualifications, or request for proposals, we will upload any changes into the city's e-procurement system. The addendum will then become part of the bid package. And we also send notice to everyone who has registered for the solicitation and added themselves to what we call our bid takeout list. If there's any changes, you will be automatically sent any addendum. If you haven't registered for the bid opportunity and you wish to bid on a solicitation, you will see when you go to bid, the system will make you acknowledge any addendum. And it's important to look at any addendum issued by the city because we may change something and you'll need to incorporate that change into your bid submittal. A contract is the written agreement between the city and a vendor for the provision of goods and or services. There are a number of different contracts or forms of contracts. So we have competitive bids, we have professional service agreements, but whatever written document that we have between a vendor and the city, we call that our contract. Once we have awarded a contract, if there's a change needed to that contract, we call that an amendment or a modification. And amendments and modifications, once executed, become incorporated into the contract. In order to change anything in our contract, there has to be an amendment or a modification, which is signed by the vendor and the city. And aside from that, you cannot change your contract. For construction contracts, we may issue what's called a change order, which is a change to the contract. So the types of procurement are small orders, competitive bids, job order contracts, which we refer to as JOC contracts, requests for proposals, RFPs, and requests for qualifications, an RFQ. A small order is a contract for goods or services, and the contract value has to be less than or equal to $250,000. It's important to note that per the Municipal Act, any contract where we estimate the value to be over $10,000, we incorporate minority business enterprise goals and or women business enterprise goals. Competitive bids are formal bid solicitations that are estimated to be greater than $250,000 in value. For these solicitations, we have to advertise them in a local newspaper. For small orders, we do not advertise them in a newspaper. They're only found on the Department of Procurement Services website. Currently, we have a contract with the Chicago Tribune, and all of our bid solicitations are advertised in the Tribune in the classified section. In addition to being advertised in the newspaper, all of our bid solicitations can be found on the Department of Procurement Services website. We have a bid and bond room. It's temporarily closed, but when it reopens, we have our bid solicitations and bid opportunities in our bid and bond room, which is in City Hall. When we issue bid solicitations, they have to be advertised for a minimum of 10 days. The Department of Procurement Services practice is to advertise solicitations for about 30 days. For construction bids, a bid deposit may be required. If that is the case, it'll be identified in the bid solicitation. But for construction, be careful to look at the documents and see if a bid deposit is required. For most all of our solicitations, we conduct a pre-bid meeting. The pre-bid meeting could include site inspections, and they can be in person or online. When you're looking at our solicitations, you should be careful to note if the pre-bid meeting is optional or mandatory. If the pre-bid meeting is mandatory, it means your firm mustn't attend the pre-bid meeting in order for you to bid on the solicitation. Most of our pre-bid meetings are optional, but we strongly encourage you to attend. So during the pre-bid meeting, we review the specifications. We have the user department who's actually looking for the good or service in attendance. We will address questions and or concerns. And pre-bid meetings are a good opportunity for MBE, WB, VB firms, DB firms to network with prime contractors and potentially be used on bid solicitations. Depending on the questions we receive, we may issue an addendum or clarification to the bid documents. So as I stated, we strongly encourage all bidders to attend our pre-bid meetings. On all of our solicitations, there is a contract administrator identified, and that person is your point of contact for the solicitation. So for the bid documents, please be sure to fill in any and all required information. Most all of our bid documents have a checklist to help you understand what is required. You must sign and execute the bid execution page, and the bid execution page must be notarized. If you don't submit all of the required information, your bid could be rejected. Again, be sure to note if a bid bond is required. Bid bonds will not exceed 10% of the contract value amount, the estimated amount. And we do not accept cash, so your bid deposit must be submitted in the proper form. Because our bids are issued electronically, it's important that you submit your bid before the identified closing date and time. You cannot submit a bid after the bid closes. We understand that there may be technical issues. However, once the bid closes, you cannot submit your bid. So we strongly encourage you not to wait until the last minute and submit your bids early. Our bid openings are held Monday through Friday. We publicly read all of the bids that we receive. Our bid and bond team does this from our bid and bond room. However, all of the openings are streamed via YouTube. So the bids are opened and read aloud. Our bids are tabulated and published on DPS's website within 24 hours after the bid opening. Once the bid tabulation is published on DPS's website, the contract administrator will take a close look and review the bid in its entirety to ensure that it's accurate and complete. For the award process, a determination is made regarding the bidder's responsiveness and responsibility for award. So we're looking to ensure that you've responded to our solicitation and provided all of the proper documents. And then we're also looking to ensure that your firm has the capacity to perform on the contract. We receive a recommendation of award from our user department. So the Department of Procurement Services sends over a bid tabulation, a detailed bid tabulation to our user departments, and then the user department returns a recommendation of award for the vendor that's selected. So the acceptable bid is then what we call package. So we do checks to ensure that your firm does not owe any debt to the city. We cannot award a contract if you are indebted to the city. We ensure that you have submitted all of the proper documents and that they are correct. And we ensure that you are registered with the Illinois Secretary of State and you're in good standing, and your campaign contributions to the mayor or other public officials are within the appropriate limits. For construction bids, you may be required to submit a performance and payment bond. The performance and payment bond must be submitted in order for the contract to be awarded if the bid solicitation calls for a performance and payment bond. You also, for all of our bids, have to have the proper insurance as identified in the bid solicitation. Once we have everything packaged, the bid documents are routed through our city's signature cycle and signed by the city's comptroller, the city's chief procurement officer, and the mayor. For competitive bids, we award to the lowest bid, and that's factoring in responsiveness and responsibility, meeting the city specification. Another form of procurement is job order contracts or JOC contracts. JOC is a firm, fixed price, competitively bid, indefinite quantity contract specifically designed for each department's construction program. So JOC contracts are used by our Department of Transportation, our Department of Water Management, our Department of Fleet and facility management mainly, and they are for small to medium sized construction projects. Essentially, we use these contracts for internal rehab, small facilities, maybe roofing or heating, but we don't particularly know when the contracts go out every single project. So it will encompass a lot of small projects. Generally, general contractors respond to these type of procurements, and we use a company called the Gordian Group who issues a book of various construction tasks with a description, a unit of measure, and a unit price for each task. JOC contracts also require MBE, WBE, and possibly VBE participation. The next form of procurement is request for proposals, or RFPs. This is a method used to solicit proposals to implement a new project requiring professional services. So this is when we're looking to work with consultants. It's used when the city doesn't have in-house technical experts or resources to implement the project or services. The RFP solicitation will define project objectives and a scope of service, but doesn't detail every aspect of implementing the project. So essentially, we're looking for the consultant to provide us with a plan of how to implement the project. The RFP process requires a detailed evaluation of proposals by an evaluation committee based on the criteria stated in the RFP. Price is not the only factor. We're looking for the most qualified firm. The evaluation committee consists of city employees and usually from various departments. The evaluation committee will score and rank proposals, and the contract is awarded to the firm that is the highest ranked. The next form of procurement is request for qualifications. This method is used to solicit qualifications from companies who possess a high degree of technical expertise and knowledge in specific disciplines. For the most part, for RFQs, the city will pre-qualify companies to build a vendor pool who will respond to future what we call task orders. So like the JOC program, we don't know exactly what projects we'll have. So we have a pre-qualified pool of vendors. From time to time, we will issue work to the pre-qualified pool, and then the vendors in the pre-qualified pool have to respond with a proposal, which is evaluated by the user department who the contract is awarded to. And there will be an evaluation committee from that user department, and proposals received will be reviewed for or looking for the vendor with the most technical competence. For architectural and engineering RFQs, there's no cost proposal that's required when you submit your proposal for the solicitation. Once the pre-qualified pool is established and we have established which vendors will be in the pool, we'll then ask you for a fee schedule to be submitted as part of your master task order contract. Please note that when you submit fees or pricing to the city, we may negotiate and ask you to lower your price. However, we will never be able to give you pricing that is greater than what was originally submitted to us. RFQs are most commonly used for A&E and professional services contracts. within certain categories, such as financial services, real estate services, and A&E. For every single contract that the Department of Procurement Services awards, we are required by law to have vendors submit an economic disclosure statement, or an EDS. The EDS addresses the disclosure of your firm's ownership. The EDS is online and it is mandatory in order to be awarded a contract. In addition to the applicant, any legal entity which owns more than 7.5% of a company, directly or indirectly, must also file and submit an EDS. Now we'll move into our certification process and team. We currently have 6 types of certification: MBE for minority owned businesses, WBE for women owned businesses, BEPD for businesses owned by people with disabilities, DBE, disadvantaged business enterprise. These contracts, or DBE certifications, are used for contracts that are federally funded. MBE and WBE are used for contracts that are city funded. For our Department of Aviation, we have AC DBE certification, and we are looking to build our VBE pool, veteran owned business certifications, and increase our goals and have more participation for VBE firms. So the basic eligibility requirements are: businesses must be at least 51% owned and controlled by qualifying minorities, women, veterans, individuals with disabilities, or other disadvantaged individuals. Businesses also must be small businesses, and the business must be independent of any larger firm. So on this slide, we're showing the sections of the municipal code that address MBE, WBE, and DBE participation. There you can see the rules and regulations and requirements for each of our programs. For firms that are certified and performing on contracts, you must perform a commercially useful function. So, what constitutes a commercially useful function? A certified firm performs, or a commercially useful function is when a certified firm is responsible for the execution of a distinct element of work on the contract, which is carried out by actually performing, managing, and supervising the work, and or fulfilling the responsibilities as a joint venture. For our solicitation, when you're bidding, we do understand that sometimes goals may not be obtainable, and we have a process to request a reduction, waiver, or you can present good faith efforts to meet the goals. A contractor shall not be entitled to a reduction or a waiver of our goals during the performance of the contract, after substantial completion of the contract, or at the time of contract closeout, unless in writing the contractor makes a request to the CPO and this request is approved. A contractor seeking a waiver or reduction of our goals must demonstrate to the satisfaction of our Chief Procurement Officer that the firm has made good faith efforts to meet and utilize certified firms. So contract monitoring and compliance, which is done by DPS's compliance team. The compliance team will monitor the actual utilization of MBEs, WBEs, DBEs, or any other certified firm on a solicitation or contract that have been listed as subcontractors in the compliance plan, which is in the contract. Our compliance team ensures compliance also with our City of Chicago residency ordinance, CRO requirements, and also equal employment opportunity commitments for construction contracts. So for CRO, these requirements will be listed in the solicitation and incorporated into the contract. Funded by the city, we will have CRO goals, and that means 50% of the work hours must be performed by actual residents of City of Chicago, and 7 point
Jana, Jana,
or EEO.
Jana,
Yes.
your mic went out. Can you review that last slide? Because your mic went out.
Okay, yes. So for CRO, we have CRO requirements which are identified in solicitations and become part of our contracts. And these are for construction contracts with an estimated value of $100,000 or more and funded by the City of Chicago. And CRO requires that 50% of the work hours must be performed by actual residents of the City of Chicago, and 7.5% of the total hours must be performed by Chicago residents that live in the project area where the work is being performed. For EEO, we're looking to promote equality of opportunities for minority and females, and this is also for city-funded construction projects. In the solicitation, there will be a award criteria determination or a canvassing formula that we ask contractors to complete, and these are also for contracts estimated at $100,000 or greater. Bidders are invited to propose the minority and female employee utilization goals. So we ask you to tell us what goals you can meet, but once you commit to goals, they have to be fulfilled in the contract. So different ways to achieve compliance. Certified firms can work as a prime contractor. Certified firms or non-certified firms can form a joint venture. Certified firms can subcontract a portion of the work. Purchasing materials that are used in the performance of the contract from one or more MBE or DBE or WBE firm is another way to achieve compliance. We have reporting requirements for contracts that have goals. Prime contractors are responsible for submitting monthly subcontractor payment certification forms, weekly certified payrolls, and also waivers of lien. So we have a variety of programs and bid incentives. One program we have is our Small Business Initiative for construction and Mid-sized Business Initiative for construction. We have a non-construction mid-sized business program. We have a diversity credit program. We have a target market program for non-construction, a mentor protege program, and ultimately for our MBWB firms, we're looking to grow your firm's business and capacity and phase you out of the MBWB program. All of these programs, initiatives can be found on our website. We have a variety of bid incentives, which are listed here. And our bid incentives are identified in solicitations. And essentially, the bid incentive artificially reduces your bid price to help you win a contract. So, depending on various factors such as if your city is, I mean, your business is based in the city, if you have a veteran-owned business, if you do a mentor protege.
Went out again, Jana. Jana, hello.
Diversity reporting, and this is a
Jana
yes.
went out again on that last slide. I don't
Sorry
know.
about that. I'm
Are
not sure
you
what's going.
using a cord
No,
on
I'm
your?
not using anything.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
my computer.
Okay, yeah, it did. I'm sorry about that.
My apologies as well. I was explaining with the bid incentives that we have a variety of different bid incentives, which are all identified in our contracts. And the bid incentives artificially reduce your bid pricing just for the purposes of awarding a contract. And we use the bid incentives to help vendors win contracts. We currently have a requirement for diversity reporting, and this requirement is for all contracts. It requires all contractors that have agreements with the city to submit annual reports about their company's business diversity program or lack thereof. The business diversity program and utilization report is due on the first day of July every calendar year from all contractors. And the website to find out more about this and where you do your reporting is listed here. So, just to touch upon a few more things with DPS's website, all of our awarded contracts and modifications are on DPS's website. All of our vendor payments are on DPS's website. We include bid tabulations on our website. Every week, we issue a bid opportunity list with all of the current bid opportunities that our department has. We have a MBE WBE directory, which is searchable. You can find out more information about our bid incentives and programs, also the regulations that govern the work we do, and the website is listed here. And with that, we will take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Jana. Our apologies for the going out for the last two slides that you did. But if anyone has any questions for Jana regarding her PowerPoint presentation, feel free to put it in the Q&A panel at this time. And we're going to begin asking questions. One question was, how are pre-bid meetings are advertised? Procurement site and Chicago Tribune. Do these meetings happen for small orders also?
The bid The pre-bid meeting is, yes, it's advertised in the Tribune. It's on DPS's website. It is in the actual bid solicitation itself. And no, for small orders, there is no pre-bid meeting.
Okay. Any additional question? Because that was kind of like the only one that was in that area. Anyone else have any questions that they would like to ask?
I'll note that all of our pre-bid attendees for each meeting are listed on DPS's website. So if you do not attend or cannot attend, we always have a list of firms that were in attendance for networking or any reason you want to know who was there and if you need to reach out to any firm.
Okay. And Jana, if you have any other tips or last minute information, feel free to go ahead and share it now that you may want to share with the group if you do.
I would say the biggest tip, as I stated before, don't wait until the last minute to submit your bid or proposal electronically. If your document contains large files or it's just a large document, there may be issues with uploading it. So you want to allow yourself plenty of time. We do have a help desk and a team should you need assistance. And all of that information is listed in our solicitations. For firms that are responding to RFQs where we don't ask for pricing up front, but ask you to submit pricing once you've been selected to be awarded a contract, I suggest you go to the city's website and look at current contracts or previous contracts and research what the city is paying. I often see that small firms charge less. So if we're paying a large firm, let's say $600 an hour, we'll pay your firm that as well. So um, be sure to research and make sure you're giving pricing that is fair to yourself. And for bids, you want to make sure that your pricing is competitive. So do your research.
Perfect. And if anyone is looking for a copy of any of the PowerPoints or the recordings or the buying plan, I have in the chat, I have placed those links there. So feel free to take those links, copy them, paste them, click them, and get into where you need to be to get the resources that you need. The second thing I want to say at the end, when you exit out of this workshop, there's going to be a poll survey. If there are any topics or information that you would like covered, feel free to put it in the dialogue box that asks for those questions, because I do read those and I am trying to give content that I think that you are looking for. So feel free to look at that. Please explain more about the diversity reporting requirements. Jana, that was a question that was left in the chat. I'm sorry.
So for diversity reporting, we are essentially looking to see the makeup of your company, diversity requirements or programs that your company has, or lack thereof. So it is a questionnaire and document which is found on our website, and we ask that you fill that out yearly.
Alrighty. If anyone has any additional questions, this is your time to ask them now. If there are no additional questions, I want to say thank you to Jana for Jana Williams for um, giving us that presentation on how to do business with the city of Chicago. Some of our prime processions of procurement fundamentals. And I also want to thank the attendees for stopping by and coming to hear what we have to say today. And we know that you have a choice, and you all are very busy, and you have taken a little time out of your schedule to hear what we have to say, and we do appreciate that. We're trying to give you content that you're looking for and you need. So if there's anything that we can do to help you, that is what the post survey is for. With that said, we want to thank you for coming out, and we hope that you will come back to another one of our workshops. We have these on Wednesday and Thursday of every week at 2 o'clock. Same time, same station. We will see you at another one. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, Jana.
Thank you.